Will do. Let me know if you can see what I got going on here. You got that?
Yeah, it looks good, man. You're all set.
All right. Sounds good. All right, Coach Hath, as you know, I appreciate you doing this. Like you said, being from Maine myself, it's always good to see some of the coaches I both played against and had a chance to play under in all-star games and whatnot. So always good to see the game continue to grow in the state. Obviously, has a special place in my heart. So, like I said, I appreciate you doing this and keeping us all sane throughout this. So, today I'm going to talk to you about our cover 2, 4, and 6 coverages. Couple out of our base packages, or 3-4 base, and then we'll get into one of our dollar packages that we put in towards the end of the year. This year ran it for about 5 games, but worked out well for us. So I'll talk to you about both of those as well. Just want to touch on this bottom left-hand corner real quick, kind of a motto of our defense, 11-30. It's a quick buzzword for us. Stands for 11 men to the ball and 3 and out. That should be our mindset. And every time we step on the field, that's our goal. Obviously, the ways, the ebbs and flows of the game, it's not always going to work like that. But that's the way we want our guys to think when they're heading onto the field. We have some clocks in our offices as well, just for that mental image that are always set to 11:30. So just kind of keeping that in our guys' minds. But other than that, we'll get right into it. So starting with really our base coverage and kind of how we base our whole defense off this. Like I said, we're a 3-4 defense. We'll get right into it. So the way we align, right, our Sam, our strong safety, and our field corner are always going to travel together. Our Will, our free safety, and our corner are going to travel together. I tell my guys, and I know our coaching staff's big on this, we're going to play the best 11. So I expect our safeties, no matter first day of camp, right, we don't necessarily design or dictate which one they're going to play. We want them to know both. Like I said, the ebbs and flows of the season with injuries going down, they should know both. Now, the good thing about our 3-4 package is it's mirrored. So if they know one side, they're going to know the other. But as we get into our other packages, they can have some different calls and stuff like that. And same for the corners. I tell the corners they got the easiest job mentally and the hardest job physically. So as long as they're in tune, they should know both sides as well. And really, corners, there's a lot more different than safeties. So going into our quarters coverage, so our safeties are going to be our communicators, right? So our strong safety is going to communicate to these 3 guys. Free safety is going to do the vice versa. He's going to talk to the Will in the boundary corner. Big for us is our corners are usually pretty good at getting the signals, but we got to make sure these guys are getting the signals as well because they're tuned into the run game, right? They're listening to the Mike's calls, whatever's going in on the box. So we got to make sure that they're on the same page with us, all right? So whatever the cue is that you want, whether they're tapping themselves on the butt or tapping their helmet, letting the safety know that they have the call because they're keyed into our support too. So I tell my guys, if they do the wrong thing, right, that's on us. At the end of the day, we got to make sure that they know their responsibility. And like I said, they got to know what they're doing in the run fit as well. So we got to make sure that we're all on the same page back there. So our safeties are going to be our communicators. So if we get 2x2 detached on the left side here, right, we have 2 options, and we'll get into this later, but I don't want our guys to be robots. Now, obviously, a lot of game planning and stuff like that comes in during the week, but day one, we teach them we have 2 calls. So if we go Kathy, right, over here to the left with 2 detached, and when I say detached, she's not on the ball. So it's 2 receivers. This could be a tight end too. We're going to go Kathy. What that's saying is the strong safety is going to be responsible for any bubble or any speed out, right? So it'll make more sense if we go to palms. I'm sure everybody has palms in their playbook, right? So our palms, we're exchanging the immediate out or the bubble of 2, right? So if we go palms and we get some Ohio concept, it's under 5 yards. 5 yards is our deadline for our safeties, right? So if he's under 5 yards, we're going to exchange that thing if we're running palms. If we're Kathy, that the safety's letting the corner know he's owning that thing, he's going to drive that thing to the flat. The reason why we ended up going Kathy a lot more towards the end of the season, right, is that I'm sure you can imagine this is a lot of gray area out here to the left, right? The corner might see 5 yards as 6 yards. He thinks, all right, the safety's driving that. Now he takes the vertical. Now this thing's wide open, or vice versa. The safety's driving that, and the corner ends up driving the out as well. And now someone's screaming down the field, right? So palms is a good change up for us. Like I said, a lot of game planning, and really at the end of the day, if we're game planning and we're cued into what the offense is trying to do, we can even tag that. We can go quads, palms, and tag that thing. So to take the decision-making out of their hands. But for the most part, our safeties are smart guys, right? So they understand kind of down and distance and game plan and what we're trying to get after. So we, for the most part, leave that up to them. But I would say 85 to 90% of the time this year, we went Kathy. So that cleared up the gray area for that. On the flip side now, we're going over to the free safety side, right, with a tight end in location. So when I say in location, he's a C area player. Whether he's here, we got a lot of insert this year, right? So anywhere over here, he's a C area player. We're going to go page, still staying in our quarters responsibilities. But now our Will's alignment is going to change. Whether we want to walk him up on the line, we can do that as well. But really, that's letting him know that he's now on the outside of the number 2 receiver. Really, it's going to change the run fit. The pass responsibilities don't change. He's still the skiff player. He still has 2 vertical. Corner knows now if he hears Page, he's locked up. There's no more communication with Kathy and Palms. It's all Page. We're ready to go. Right, so like I said, talking about the outside backers now, and we're not going to get too much into what goes on in the box here. Kind of want to keep it on the perimeter, but our outside backers and our quarters coverage are going to be our skiff players. So seam, curl, flat. They're going to collision the vertical of number 2 without sacrificing their alignment. So if number 2 takes an outside release, he's rerouting himself by that point, right? So we don't want him screaming out here. Now, at the end of the day, he's going to end up there anyways. We don't want him taken out of his alignment trying to reroute that guy. So that's kind of what we tell these guys. And again, same thing here. If he has a page call, he's not going to scream in here to get a reroute. He's already at where he should be at the end of the day, right? If this guy goes out, he's in a great position to get in that curl flat window. And what we teach these guys getting to the flat is they're holding their curl window until something brings them to the flat. A lot of times that's going to be a number 3 across their face. That's kind of an easy way to say it, whether it's Y dividing across or a back coming out. Anything across their face is going to take them to the flat. So that's kind of how we deal with it with a pro set. Now we get to the other side. We have 2 detached on both sides. This is where the mirror comes in. So we have the same thing going on both sides, right? So again, if our free safety is complaining about not getting playing time, he should be able to play. He should be able to play strong safety as well. So that's never really an issue. They should know both. And then again, nothing's going to change for us on that side. So that's kind of how we align. That's the majority of the formations that we see. We'll get into our 3-by-1 adjustments now and how we adjust to that. So front side, let me go back here and pause this thing. Front side, nothing changes for these 3, right? Their surface is still the same. They have 2 detached, right? It's still Kathy or Palms, again, depending on game plan. Our Sam is still our seam curl flat player. What changes now is everything backside. So the majority of the times, the way we do it, we're going to steal 3 with our free safety, right? We're going to give a flow call that allows the backers to know that he's taking number 3 vertical, right? And we're also going to give a backer call. What this helps is this corner. Ideally, I tell my guys don't expect any help, right? He can cut it under, but anything else is going to be his. So we give this backer call to this Will. Really, we can boss the backers in this picture, again, depending on game plan. But that's going to let the Will know he's going to be able to help on any quick route. So if we get a skinny post or a slant, really, he should be right in that window. If we get a vertical, he's going to be expanding there anyways, treating it as a seam curl flat. But we just give a backer call to this Will, letting him know this free safety's gone now. So that should allow him to know it's a 3-by-1 formation, right? And we should be good to go. Again, nothing changes from the front side. Talking about the Mike zip, missed that in the first slide, but they're going to be hook curl right off of their final number 3 or number 2. So it changes for the zip. If it's a 3-by-1, really he's hook curl off his final number 2. So if this thing exchanges, they run some stick route. Now the Mike knows this F becomes his new number 3. He's not expanding all the way out here. The Sam will take that out. Right? So again, communication's huge. Again, letting this Will know that we're out of there as a safety and he can help out on the corner. Corner, I tell him, again, not to expect any help. He can treat that as man. All right, so going into another adjustment that we kind of put in at the end of the year, seen a lot of teams go into it, so we don't get picked on back here, right, is our slip call. So what that's going to do is now we're going to put our Sam outside of number 1. Really, he's treating this, take this corner out of it. Now it's our Kathy call, but with our Sam as the corner here, right? So again, they're taking the exchange. So if this Y comes out, this F is vertical, safety's going to stay on the F, and the Sam will expand with that thing to the flat. Again, the corner is going to treat this as man. He can cut an under because it's going to our skiff play over here, and our hook curl guys should be collisioning anything across their face. So that's an adjustment we got to. We didn't really run it a whole lot, again, with time constraints and stuff like that, but something we're gonna try and get to in the future. So if these guys both go vertical, right now our Sam's carrying that thing, our safety will be all over this. Again, our corner's treating that as man, he can cut it under. Nothing changes for the inside backers. So that's kind of how we adjust to 3x1. Again, this one is the majority of the time, 95% of the time, that's what we're doing. And then it's up to us as coaches to change it up so we're not getting dicked around with this Y here. So we'll get into the film here. So we'll put this one on here. This is just a run fit, but basically just to show our alignment, right? So our corners are a little deep. Day one, I tell them we're 2x7 if we're not pressed. So this was the first game here, probably a little antsy. They're a little deep for my liking, but we're going to go 2x7 off of where they align. So if they're off the ball, we should be up a little bit. But again, not too bad. Safeties rules, they're going to be no deeper than 12 yards, no more shallow than 10 yards. So again, you can see this guy's a little tighter. He has a tight end, trusting his speed, trusting his athletic ability, right? He's going to be able to cover that guy vertical. He's not worried about getting screened by here. We got to trust our athletic ability. So that's kind of how we line up. Our Sam and our Will are going to be our apex players, right? So we don't necessarily teach this guy to cock in like this. He was actually a DB. We were short on guys this game, but again, and that's another part of safety, right? You got to be able to know what's going on in front of you so we can easily throw guys in there. But this is basically going to be our alignment here. Now we can press. We got to a lot more press at the end of the year. Again, just cleaning up the communication in the gray area there. And our guys, that's kind of the style we have in our room, because we want to get in people's faces right off the bat and let them know that we're going to be there all day. So that's kind of how we align, right? So again, our strong safety here, his eyes are all on 2, right? He knows he has him vertical. Corner's eyes, he's gonna clear 3-step, right? And our free safety here is going to be all on number 2 weak. So this is where we get a lot of inserts here from our safeties. Our guys love to hit, so they get all antsed up when they see a tight end back there, right? So you'll see here, I'll go slow-mo here. I think that works better. Our tight end's going to divide across. Our free safety knows he can go fit that thing now, right? So you can see our Sam up top. I hope that film's working all right for you. That Sam up top, he's going to be our edge player. He's boxing everything.
Safeties good, Coach. The slow-mo works good.
All right, cool. Appreciate it. So our Sam is going to be our box player, our force player, making sure nothing gets outside of him, right? If we were to get a crack here, now our safety knows he's fitting off. That's a clean picture here, right? He's fitting in now, gets the crack replace. Again, obviously, same thing for number 1. If he replaces, now our corner's coming off it. And same thing on the other side. That's what's nice about having a mirror defense again, right, is everything's applicable to the other side. So again, just put this on here to show how our safeties can be a factor in the run game. Right, we can get that 8th man in the box really quite quick off the bat. Now, coaching point here, if this quarterback pulls this thing, and we'll see a couple clips later where he doesn't do a great job. This kid's a really smart kid for us. Does a great job getting our whole defensive line. But if we teach him, if this quarterback pulls this ball, he can pin the post and help to bracket anything. So if we get a post here, really he can be underneath that thing. Just extra help. But again, he can be aggressive. And to touch on kind of how we align these guys. So our strong safety is typically our more agile player, has a little bit more speed in most cases and may be able to cover a little bit better. Our free safety is probably a bigger guy, might not be as good in coverage, but can still cover and can really fit the box well. So we know we're getting a lot of tight end to the boundary. Our free safety can be a factor in the run game. So again, this clip's just showing the run fit and kind of how we fit on this thing. As a DB guy, I like to start with a little run fit. All right, so here we go. Same picture, same formation here. We get a page call here, right? We got a tight end. Our Will can really widen out a little bit. So now you can see we're pressed. Our Sam can widen out a little bit too. We tell him to apex number 2 and the end man on the line of scrimmage here. So he might be a little tight, but third and short. So I understand what he's doing. Again, we're pressed here. Let this thing roll. And then I'll pause it for a sec. I tell my guys, right, I don't want us to be robots. So our corners, during practice, we'll rep 2 or 3 different techniques. So we'll work a punch, we'll work a shadow technique, which both guys do here. where really they're just fighting to stay square and mirror what the wide receiver's trying to do. And then we'll work a little press bail technique with still quarters principles, which we didn't get to a whole lot. But again, and I don't dictate that. So whatever my opinion is, they gotta mix it up in the flow of the game, and mix it up so the wide receivers don't know what kind of press they're getting. So mix up with their releases a little bit. So we'll see a shadow technique here. Third and short, really want to get hands-on, which we get up top. Coach Lippert's probably going to say this is a PI, but I don't agree. So we'll see here. I put this on here too to talk about our Sam, right? So we get double slants. So we tell our Sam, right, if 2 goes in, you can anticipate 1 coming in right behind you. Now he doesn't get his eyes out there on this play, right? He kind of gets sucked up a little bit. But you can see he ends up being in that window. So that's why we teach him if he sees 2 across his face, he can anticipate expanding to number 1 and try and get under that slant window. Good tempo by both of our safeties here, right? Love the aggressive, not even backpedaling out of there. Again, down and distance is going to dictate that. But you can see them start to close to that. Again, good job getting hands on up top, able to make a play. Takes a little friendly fire, but that's all right. We're off the field. So, again, just how we align here and then down here. So, again, we teach our safeties, right, 5 yards, it's yours. So this guy hooks up at about 5. Right, he can if this play extended longer, he can help to rob something, right? Our backers are going to be underneath that. In this case, he sees balls coming out. He doesn't really have time to go help anything. But again, good job closing to routes. And really, that's what we talk about in our room every day. We want to be able to match as many routes as possible, right? We want to be greedy back there and not give them any opportunities for free access and stuff like that. Obviously, they're going to get it depending on what we're calling that day. But when we have an opportunity, especially third and short, and we hear our quarters coverage come in, we want to press that thing, get hands on, and be aggressive. All right, so put this one on here. You can see our communication going on with these 2 guys right here, right? So when our page coverage, typically it's with a C area player, right? So that's going to put our will outside. What our will is saying right now is this is a nasty split, right? So he feels that if he's inside this number 2 right here, he can easily get washed down by a crack, right? So we'll just go page here and put him outside. Now, again, that's going to change our run fits. If he fans out, now our safety's fit is inside the will. So just put that on here again. And this isn't something that we called. You can see them communicating. Don't let them be robots. Not a huge change in the coverage aspect, but it's going to change our run fit. You see them both communicating, right? That's a good job. Even the corner seeing what's going on. So just put that on here again. This is a little bit drastic. They don't really have to say that's a nasty split, right? But if this is a tight end 2 or 3 yards off the ball, I'm comfortable with them going page there and staying in there, just putting the will outside. So that's the communication going on there. So we get sprint out smash to the top here, right? Ideally, when we get smash, let me pause this, our Sam would flatten out and get under the hitch. Now he decides to go pull this thing up now. Ideally, he's going to get out and we'll pull it up with our second inside guy. Now they decide to go this way, just, again, not being robots to go play football. So he's going to end up trying to get out there. He's never going to get there on smash, right? But that's kind of the thought process going on there. Good. Love our patience by our safety. This is what I talked to him about, knowing your personnel, right? This is actually a tight end as the number 2 right here. So he knows, right, 1st and 10, don't know what they're running, but he knows that he doesn't have to scream out of his tempo off the snap. So really love his tempo, being aggressive here, right? He knows that guy's not going to fly by him. Now talking about the corner up top, don't really love his technique. Feet are kind of all over the place, would like him to be more under control. I love that he makes the decision. And this is something that this kid is getting better at every day. But a lot of times he sees what's going on, especially a couple times in sprint out smash, right? And he just doesn't pull the trigger and go attack that thing, right? I want our guys to be aggressive at all times, have confidence in their ability, and go make this play. Now, I'll tell him on Sunday that should be a pick 6. But at the end of the day, that's a good break, like that he's playing with confidence and driving on that thing. If we clean up his technique at the beginning of the play, right, this thing might be going to the house. But again, just put this on here to show our page check down here at the bottom with the nasty split. And again, our rotations on our smash concepts. All right, so here we go. Now we're into a 3-by-1. right? So again, we're gonna go flow here. So our safety's telling everybody he's taking the vertical of number 3. Get a backer call. He can probably widen out a little bit, but that's gonna let Cooley up top know, our boundary corner, let him know that he has help on any skinny post or any slant. Still treat this thing like man. I'm telling him he's all by himself, right? But at the end of the day, he should have a wheel flashing under any quick route out there, right? So again, we're going flow, flow. Nothing changes for these 3 guys. They're still all Kathy. Safety's all of number 2 unless he's under, right? He's driving a bubble, driving him out. Corners all of number 1. So again, here you can see our free safety up top, right? That tight end divides across. He's going to fit down. Now, this is what I was talking about. Once he sees ball pulled, he can really open up and go bracket something. Don't just cover grass, go match a route. So if this, I think he ends up running a corner or something. But if he ran a post, right, he can be able to help that. If this is a dig, he should be able to help on that as well, right? So just be a football player. But at the end of the day, his eyes are in the right spot. Now he just needs to dig himself out, which he gets too late. Down here, they're trying to get to some type of scissors concept. Really, our corner does a great job getting hands-on, kind of takes away that route all by himself, right? And again, love our tempo by our strong safety here, not flying out of here, right? Maintaining his leverage. Once that break comes, now he rounds his step a little bit, but his eyes are in the right place, driving that thing with his eyes on his man, gets in location, he's able to look back. Not a great throw, goes out of bounds, but we're in position. If that thing's underthrown, that's probably ours, right? And going into, won't get into too much technique, but going into the technique of our transition for our DBs. I don't teach T-step or bicycle, whichever they're going to get out of their break with faster. So day 1 at camp, we'll go through all of our everyday drills, and whichever they're more comfortable with and get out faster, that's what I tell them to do. So we have corners that do both. We have safeties that do both. So not something that I harp on, again, going back to the whole being a robot thing. We just want to be football players and get out of our break as fast as we can. So again, good job here driving with our eyes. Corners all over that thing. If number 3 was vertical, right, our free safety would be taking that, maintaining inside leverage, which we'll get to on the next clip here. All right, so 3x1 again, right? Now our rules typically for our free safety is to disguise our shell. We want to stay in the backside A gap, right? Now this guy is not a tight end. He's a detached number 3 receiver, right? So he feels, and again, this kid isn't the quickest kid, but really bright, intelligent kid. So he feels he has to cheat it over a little bit. Would like to see him do it post snap, just to kind of hold that shell a little bit longer. But he's over there now. When we close out, right, if this kid goes vertical, which he does a good job on this clip, and the next clip not so much, we're attacking that near hip. So if we get over the top of this vertical route and this guy runs a skinny or a bender, right, he's going to be wide open inside of us. So we got to really close to that near hip, force that thing vertical, force him to run the long way, and make the quarterback throw a tough ball. So this is actually a good clip of it. Again, the only thing I'd say to him is try to hold that shell a little bit longer. You can see he's actually way front side outside the C gap. But we'll see it here. Let this thing roll. Right, good job being patient, closing to that near hip. Now he's in location. He's not over the top. If that guy wants to run a bender, he's running right back into us. Right, our strong safety over here. Again, good job with his tempo. That thing's past linebacker depth. We're owning it. Good job driving it. And then up top, you can see a little bit of our backer call. Now he's a little wide here, and we'll get to one of our coverages. We actually have him a line out there, but that's not what's going on here. But again, letting our corner know he has help, and that's the window we want him in. Now he can expand as that ball comes in. He kind of comes inside a little bit too much, but he can sit right under that comeback window. Really good tempo by our corner here. Up top, would like to see him stay square and drive this thing with his eyes, but is able to get out of his break. Right, if he snaps his eyes there, he's going to get there quicker. Uses his long arm, good play. We're still in this game at this point. 4th down, big stop to get us off the field here. So again, big coaching point here is our flow free safety closing to that near hip of the number 3. Now, again, if this is a tight end and he's in location, he can hold his shell. He can be outside the tackle. He felt the need to get out here. What I would tell him is to get out there after the snap. But again, big point there. Don't let him break inside of you. All right, here we go. So this is a tight end, right? We're still on our flow call. Backer here to the boundary, excuse me. So now you see he's over the top, and we'll see as this thing rolls, right? He actually gets a good reroute by our Mike here, but you can see how he opens up. So what I teach him, right, is work a flat line. So really, if he's lining up here, work a flat line to his hip. Obviously, if he's a faster guy and he's out here on the hash, now we can really cheat our alignment. But in this picture, I'd like to see him hold his stack, right? And we can work a flat line right to that near hip, especially with this being a tight end. So this is where we get burnt here. He opens up, starts gaining depth, not trusting his technique, not trusting his speed. And you can see we open up that skinny window right inside, and they're able to hit that. So if we're closing to that near hip, right, I'm confident that ball is either not being thrown or that thing's being picked. And again, you can see, so this is a 4 vert look. You can see how it's going to turn into man for us. At the end of the day, once all routes clear 5, this thing's turned into man. Strong safety does a good job. Now he can't open up too quick. Same thing really that I tell the free safety. Wait till you're at his near hip, then get a punch and turn with it. Corner's doing a good job. And then our Will backer back here, you can see him flash his eyes here. He can really expand out a little bit, get under that comeback window. But big coaching point here again, right? Trust your speed, trust your technique. We should be the superior athletes against the tight end, right? Close to that near hip and take away that easy glance window here. Backer got kicked out for that. That was tough. All right, so now we get pro set on both sides. Just put this in here to show the formation. We didn't get this a whole lot, but I know at the high school level you might be getting this. So again, we're going page here. Safety's eyes are both on the tight ends. You can see they're both flat-footed and aggressive. We mix up what we're doing with our outside backers, whether we walk them up or keep them apex. Really gonna walk them up so we can dent that run if we get run action now. But just kind of how we line up to double pro set here. And then again, good clip of us getting to the ball here. We're gonna vice this thing with our corner and our safety. Right, really attacking the ball, using your leverage, and finish on the play. So taking those 11-30 concepts, right, that we talk about every day and we break down on in our pursuit drill and things like that. We just want to see that on the field. So this is a good picture by both of those guys on that side of the field. And we'll take that, a 3-yard screen on 2nd and 8, right? We're still on this thing, have the ability to use a couple of our packages. So. All right, go into this now. So now we get a Y off the ball, tight ends on the ball backside. Still going to treat that as page on both sides. Put this in here. So quarters coverage is going to end up being a man a lot of the times, like I said. Right, and what we got a lot this year was double moves. So we got cooked on a lot of them, and towards the end of the year, this is our last game, started to feel more comfortable with it and be more aggressive toward it. So when I tell them, right, they're going to run out and ups on both sides here. Really up top does a good job. The bottom corner gets cut off here. But I tell them we have a right to that space as much as they do, right? So he's running it out. We can close on that as much as we do. Make them collision you as you're driving on that route. He's able to get hands on here, right, and be able to man turn with that thing. Now our safeties get sucked in with the play action, which is fine. And this ball is coming out decently quick, so they're not going to be able to rob on anything here. But again, put this on for the corners. Now we can have better technique at the start and all of that, but really just put this on here, learning the double moves. We'll get that a lot once teams figure out what we're doing. So collision the break. Once he turns that thing up, we have a right to that space as well, and really just make him collision you and turn and run with that thing. A lot of times, man, if we throw the timing off in this league, it's tough for quarterbacks and wide receivers, and I know at the high school level as well. Right, it's tough for quarterbacks to make that throw even if the timing's off a little bit. So the more physical we can be, obviously we don't want flags, but I'd take a flag over us giving up 12 yards because we're not being aggressive. So that's kind of how we treat double moves. Now our empty check here, right, still on our quads coverage, still on our base. So we're going to tell our Will it's locked back here, right? Our free safety is still going to flow this number 3. And we're still going Kathy up top here. So that's kind of how we adjust. Now, we're comfortable with this in this game. Now, this guy's an absolute player. Glad he's gone, but we felt comfortable with our Will on this kid locked up. This kid was a converted safety, so we felt all right with that matchup here. Now, depending on personnel and stuff like that, we might have to get out of base if we see empty coming in. But again, with this guy being a back, we felt all right with this matchup. So that's kind of how we match up to empty in this package here. So you can see our Will, who, like I said, is converted safety. He's able to run with this wheel, no problem. Corner, don't really teach the bail like this, but again, kind of down in distance. No, not really. It's 2nd and 8, right? But again, what I do like is that they're on different levels here on the snap. Could be a little bit better. I'd rather have our corner press. He's more comfortable with it. A big thing, if we're going to be locked back here, just want to be on different levels so we don't get picked. Again, so you can see here kind of how we distribute this thing, right? Once 2 eliminates, now our strong safety knows he's our help player, right? So 3 still vertical. He's able to bracket that thing. Really, again, you see our free safety getting a little too far over the top, right? And allowing that dig coming in. Our backers are in a great spot here to kind of bail us out. But again, this is a fast wide receiver for them. They kind of game planned us a little bit by putting him in the Y off location here. But again, he's just got to trust his speed, work flat to that thing. Our strong safety does a good job bracketing that. So that's kind of how we match up to empty in this package. Obviously, got to change it up, and we're able to get some pressure, which is always nice. All right, moving into going into our cover 2 world. So this is a little bit where the different sides come in. So we actually go into a 4 down here. We draw one of our inside backers down. Again, depending on game plan and depending on what they're running. So to the field here, right? Our Sam, so when we get in this, right, we trust this guy. He's an athlete. He's kind of a hybrid safety, outside linebacker type kid. We trust him to be able to run with the vertical of number 2. Obviously, if a team has a stud as an F, and we don't feel comfortable about that matchup, this coverage might be out of the game plan or just a 2 or 3 kind of change up call, a game type deal. But so he's going to have all of number 2 unless he's an out. So if he runs a quick out, right, and again, it's going to be our 5-yard cutoff. We keep that the same. And that's really a big thing with our defense is the more we can keep constant with these guys, the more we feel like we can put more in. Like, again, you can see over here, completely different defense and coverage, but we're still keeping as many rules the same as we can, and we'll get into that a little later as well. But again, our Sam's going to have all of number 2. Corner's going to force inside release, which we struggled at this year. But we did what I tell them, right, is if this receiver has an MOR, he must outside release route, we're going to put our ass to him and squeeze him to the sideline, getting our eyes back to the quarterback. We're going to work with depth until anything brings us back. So if this A comes out and we're working with depth, now we're able to respect that, play it top down. At the end of the day, that's the throw we want to rally to. Right, so again, our Sam is all of number 2. He can cut the out. Our safeties here, oh, my bad. Our safeties here, right, is where we got to be really good. So again, it comes with the tempo. So our strong safety, he's got to really, and our free safety in this picture, he's got to really read the release of number 1, right? So if he gets a clean outside release, our corner for whatever reason misses on his jam or anything like that, he knows he's got to work for more depth right off the bat. Now, if this corner does a great job and either jams him at the line, he's having trouble getting off, or even if he gets a clean inside release, now we know our width doesn't have to be as much. And so that's what I teach those guys. Really got to be great at reading the release of the number 1 receiver. Again, maintaining leverage, stand to the inside hip. So like in those flow pictures, it's still the same concept, obviously different area of the field on the perimeter outside the hash, but really the same concept and really the same drill. We just move where the drill's going on. So backside here, so this is where we have a couple different calls going on. So if we get in this first picture over here, again, we get a C area player, whether he's on the ball, he's off, we can trap this thing, right? So we'll add another guy in the box, or corner can come up. I love corners that can tackle. I think all corners should be able to tackle. Obviously, depending on the guys that you have, they may feel differently, but something that I think we're continuing to improve on week to week. It's something really that they're starting to take pride in once they see it on film and stuff like that. So that's kind of our 2 checks, right? So if we get too detached out here, right, we can cloud this thing, and treat it like normal number 2. Now where this gets dicey and what we started getting to was with 2 detached here. So this guy's off. We can just lock this as well. Treat it man back here and keep our same concepts going front side, right? So take that away. But in this picture, really we want to trap this. But again, right, going to game plan and not being robots. If he calls cloud, as long as we're on the same page, we got what we want. Now we also base that off the back at some points this year. So if we have back away, now we want to trap it for sure because the run threats to us. If we had back 2, depending on if they were a zone read team and stuff like that, maybe we want to just stay cloud back there. Let me go back real quick. But going back to the lock, so if we have 2 detached over here, right, the reason why we try and get away from cloud back here is our will's now in the box because we're a 4-3. So we don't really have a seam player out here, so we'd rather just lock that thing up. Now, when we get 3x1, right, again, keeping things consistent, our checks don't change. We're still going to steal 3. If he's vertical with the backside safety, our corner knows he's locked back here, and then nothing changes front side. Sam's all of number 2. Really want to maintain inside leverage. I should have hit on that, right? He can hold his apex shell. Really, he should be in here, and he really wants to hold inside leverage here, protect the middle of the field. We don't have anybody out there force him to the safety. If he does run vertical route, which we did decent at this year. I think there's a couple of clips where on here that we don't do a great job, but that's kind of what we teach him there. So again, trying to keep things consistent by half change up. So if we're getting a lot of access routes or anything out to the field, we can throw this at him and have a hard corner sitting out there for him. Big thing here, I wrote down here. So we got hit on this too this year. There's a wheel out of the backfield. It's a terrible wheel. But our wheel's got to be ready in a 3x1 to run with that wheel. Because if they run our corner off, he's got to be ready to push with that thing, which our wheel's a good athlete. As I said, a couple of them are hybrid safeties. And then we have another one who's a true linebacker, but he's really athletic, so he's able to do that. But we just got to make sure that we hit that with him. So we'll get into it. So we go to our field, right? Our Sam, again, is all of 2. He can cut the out to the corner. Backside here, I think they actually went cloud here. I think this was a week we were based on the back and they went pistol. So if this back was away, run actions to them, we can trap that. But they went cloud here, which is all good. Might not be the best thing that we want, but at least we're all on the same page. Again, really want to force an inside release here. Right, would like to get hands-on, be aggressive on these jams. Our corner up top does a better job than our corner down here, at least getting hands-on. And you can see, right, our boundary corner down here is working with depth until something brings him to the flat. Now this back comes out late, but at that point there's a scramble drill going on. I got confidence that we're rallying to that thing. What I don't like here, and what I tell him, is he's got to have his eyes in his area, right? So he knows this back has potential to get to his area. As he gets depth here, he's got to get eyes there because that's going to make him not drift. You can see here he starts drifting inside because his eyes are inside. If his eyes were out on this back, right, he's not going to end up drifting inside there. So really just want to have his eyes in his area as he keeps gaining width. Our safety here does a good job weaving to this thing. Again, good tempo, not getting over the top. Would like to see him flash his eyes there a little bit more, but have confidence in him that he knows what's going on there. Get a little bit of pressure in the pocket, force a high throw. But again, if this corner's in the right spot here, now really should probably be rallying up to the back. But if he doesn't drift in at the very least, he's probably under this throw, maybe able to get a hand on it. But again, that's kind of the basis of this thing. So up top, you can see our Sam here, right? Really want to force him inside. He can even tighten up a little bit. Eyes on that near hip. You can see him hop outside. Now he gave up inside leverage. If this guy's running a skinny, that's a tough throw to cover for him. Get lucky, he cuts that thing off. But he got better at that as we kind of went on with it as well. So I'm just going to make sure we keep repping that. But again, you can see, right, corners got to force inside release. You can see this corner does a good job, right, cutting that thing. He sees it's going across. Really, if our other corner's here, it's coming to him. Does a good job walling it off and looking for work. See what the next one looks like. All right, so here's our 2 detached picture here, right? So you can see we don't have an apex player out here to defend the seam. Our Will's in the box now because we're 4 down. So we're going to lock this thing, especially with this being a tight end. We got full confidence that this safety can cover him. Corners, that's what they do anyways, right? We'll keep him manned on, and then nothing changes front side. Take away the inside here, he can cut the out. Safety's got to have great tempo and great patience getting to that near hip. Check the release of the number 1 receiver. Put this on here. This is a good clip, right? This receiver's trying to get outside. We get hands on. He's still fighting to get outside leverage. Squeeze him to the sideline with your ass. Now we're cutting off that route, right? So if he was continuing to go vertical, that thing's cut off. Good job by our safety here, right? His eyes are checking the release of 1. He sees him cut that thing off. Now he can heavy up on 2. This thing eliminated itself. He can heavy up on 2. We go up top here. Again, we're locked up. See our free safety here. Eyes all on number 2. He's vertical at all. No matter what he's doing, we're running with him. We can cut it under because it will be going back to the flat corner over here. But again, and this is something that we can get to with our not to hit on the box too much, but what helped us out with this package is we can get to all kinds of games up here, mixing and stunting and stuff like that. Especially because one of these dudes is our inside backer, so he's athletic enough to make guys miss, and physical enough to really play some games with him up front. So really a good package for us here. Our backer comes free on this one. And really, it's not a pressure. We're still sound in the back end. We're just bringing 4. All right, so same thing here. Now we got a 3-by-1. Now we're a little misaligned. This is going to end up being our Sam. He's a little tight. So he knows he's all of number 2, right? And then we're stealing number 3 backside with our safety, and we'll see what he does here. And again, this is a kid, unbelievable football player. The kind of safety I love to coach, loves to hit, aggressive as all hell. But at times it comes back to bite us in the ass, as we'll see here. It's just the type of kid that you want to coach, but you got to be able to control at the same time. So he has the vertical of number 3 here. You can see our Sam is running with vertical at number 2. He knows he's all of that. Really would like to see our corner getting hands-on. But going back to our free safety in this picture, right? Our number 3 is running a 5-yard OTB route, right? He's over the ball. Really, this kid should just be walling off and helping out the post here. He decides for whatever reason to run with the back going to the flat, and you'll see where this ball hits, right where J-Rock should be sitting at. So again, love the aggressiveness and stuff like that, but there's a time and a place, and really just got to be able to do our job. Now, ultimately, this isn't all on this guy here. You can see our strong safety in this picture, right? His eyes go out to check the release of 1. Again, corner doesn't get hands-on, so not getting a whole lot of help, right? But this isn't a good picture to be in right here. We're about head up, no more leverage. All he has to do is stick that thing in the middle of the field's wide open for him, right? So really slow his tempo when it comes back to working flat, trusting your speed and athleticism, and work to this near hip. So really all 3 of these guys can help each other out on this thing, and we could be in a good position to make a play here. But again, just goes back to doing your job, right? And the way we'll teach it is this thing starts here with no reroute and echoes all the way across, right? And it's a first down on a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. But again, that's a good look at kind of our responsibilities and what it looks like if we don't do those. Not big on showing all perfect plays all the time. Sometimes you get beat. All right, but again, just make sure I would hit the coaching points on that Sunday, and make sure we all understand that it's the little things. All starts with not getting hands-on the number 1, and then trickles down to the posse safety and all the way to the free. All right, so here we go here. Same look. Still stealing number 3 here. All of number 2 and less than out. Good job by our corner up top, getting hands-on. Can be more physical, but at least he has a presence there. Right, and then he does a good job here playing this thing top down. Right, would really at this point, right, and we teach him react on the pull of the pin. So that quarterback's about to pull the pin. Once he takes his hand off that football, right, we're driving that thing. Probably doesn't have to work for so much depth here. Probably stay right where he's at. But put this one on here just to show, right, it's still that 5-yard rule for this guy, right? So if he's an immediate out now, he can cut it. This kid's vertical first, right? He's past 5 yards. Now we know he's all his. So we get flood. He's all of number 2. Safety does a good job up top. You can't really see it, but he does a good job closing to the vertical of number 1. Probably a little too far over the top. But again, just put that on there to show the 5-yard rules there. Now, we kind of mixed up what we did with this kid backside, right? Whether we want to walk it wherever he goes or if we want to cut it, right? Because there's a hard corner under here. Only thing you gotta make sure of is that this kid's tied in because, again, the wheel, he's got to go with that thing if we're not cutting it. All right, I think this is the last one of our clamp here. Yeah, just put this on to show a good corner run fit, right? So we get speed option out to this side. Don't see a whole lot of option, so our rules aren't always dictated for us. But really what I tell these guys, especially this is especially good because he's out. This guy's running our Sam off. So really he's going to end up being our force player. He's just got to make a decision and go. Now we got burnt a couple of times by making a decision to go inside and getting walled off, but he does a good job here being decisive, right? Taking a shot, especially with the ball being so far inside. He feels he has time to win. Doesn't necessarily make the tackle, but is able to force it back to our inside guys. Now if he stayed outside here, right, and just got blocked, now you can see that's a lot of green grass for that kid to work with. It's a really good job by this kid taking a shot, right? Again, not coaching football players. He knows technically he's a force player, should stay outside, but has the opportunity to win inside and closes that down for us. Big play, forcing that back inside. Obviously, he doesn't make the tackle, but able to force it back to our guys inside. All right, so that was our clamp coverage. So now kind of staying in our 2 world, another adjustment that we get to, right, is we'll walk our Will outside and have him be now our trap player, right? So then we'll show it on the film. Really, he's still going to end up in the box 90% of the time, right? But we'll walk him out here. Now our corner, we'll call it wham wham, right? Make sure we're all on the same page. Our corner is now our half field play over here. Nothing changes for the free safety. He's still taking the vertical of number 3, and nothing changes front side. Now, I'd scratch that. Something changes front side. Our Sam now is just a true seam player. He's not running with it. It's not our clamp coverage. So he's just going to wall off and protect the seam, really get a reroute on this number 2 receiver. So we'll take a look at that. Again, big change. Our Will's now coming out. And struggled with how much we wanted to teach these guys. Obviously, they don't work any press. So really I teach the corners, don't expect them to get a whole lot of hands-on and really jam that guy up. I teach them play it like man from 7 to 8 yards with inside leverage. Really shouldn't be weaving at all because, again, corners don't really weave from depth like that. So really just not overcoaching this thing, and really ended up being a good change-up for us that we got to a lot this year. So we'll see it right here. Right, so now this is our Will walked out here. So he's no longer an apex player. He's walked out. This is our boundary corner. He's going to be technically the half-field player, but again, teach him to play it like man from depth. Our free safety here is still stealing number 3, and then we have our true cover 2 going on onto the field here. So what helps us here, right, is he's going to end up in the box. Now he tries to jam a little bit too much here and ends up being late. But what we do gain is now our free safety, we're all good tacklers, right? Their read is very clear. If this guy divides across, he knows he can come fit. If he sees ball, like we talked about earlier, he can dig himself out. But if that thing's run, he should be in the box immediately, which we'll see here. This was a big play for us against Trinity early in the game, caused a turnover. I'll run it back here. So you can see our Will trying to jam a little bit too much. Doesn't have to worry about that. But really you can see him end up being our force player out there. And then our free safety is able to come down, right? His read's very clear. Fit that thing inside out, puts a hat on the ball, and really a big turnover for us early in the game. We'll see it better for the tight here. So you can see number 4 back there. His eyes are on number 3 on the snap. Tight end divides across. He's going to come down and fit. really just frees him up instead of having him, a deep half player over to that side. Now we want to scoop and score that thing. Ball drills. Scoop and score that thing, but end up recovering that. That was a good play for us early in the game. So same thing here. Now this is a really good clip by this kid, athletic outside linebacker for us. Walk him out better. This is our last game, so you can see our techniques are a little cleaner. Better depth by this kid. Again, still stealing 3. Would like him not to show it as much. He can probably still stay backside A or B gap. But again, you'll see here he divides across. And already we've gained our will back in the box and our free safeties coming down in the box, right? So really we're still ending up with an 8-man box, even though we're showing kind of a bizarre shell out there with our will. So really was a good change up for us and kept our cover 2 principles relatively the same. You can see our will is able to come in, force this thing. He's going to box everything, let the inside guys clean it up. Backers do a good job getting over the top. So like I said, that ended up being a really good change up for us. And we got a couple more clips of it here. Yep. So here we go. So this kid's another first year playing defense, converted running back, had him at safety for a little bit. So preach to these guys, right, about understanding down and distance. 3rd and short, he ends up backpedaling out of this. So going back to what we talked to earlier, if 2 comes in, right, expect that 1's coming in right behind it. He could have been a factor on this play. But again, just showing the same coverage here. Again, good job by this kid, forcing an inside release. Doesn't necessarily have to get hands-on. We don't rep that a whole lot, so not expecting that of him. Now, what I don't like is this corner back here, right, being lazy, getting his eyes in the backfield. He should be weaving with this thing, staying inside leverage, right, maintaining that inside leverage, protecting that skinny post. But again, just put this on here, showing that we got to all be tied in, right? Our Mike Backer here does a great job expanding, right? He's going to end up under number 2. If we had our Sam expanding as well, right, this thing's probably dead or going the other way. Corner can be closer on this thing as well. Going back to understanding down and distance, he backpedals 2 off the snap. And he's athletic as all hell, so I expect him to be able to get hands off on the snap and be a factor on this play. A good job rallying to the ball. So it just shows kind of some of the pieces that we were missing on that play. Going back to it again, so our will's out here, cornerback, right? We're stealing number 3 still. So this is a good look at it, right? Our will gets a little excited out here trying to jam him, ends up falling, but our corner's way too far off, right? 3rd and 5. Really doesn't have to get any depth. Trust his athleticism, but good job sorting this thing back here. Right, you'll see our free safety, much better job closing to the hip here, right? This guy's running some type of dig route, but at least he's on the top of it. He's not too far over the top where he's nailing this thing inside. Good job dropping by our backers. Right, would really like to see our Sam be more physical here, but widens him to our safety. Corner does a good job squeezing with this thing. And again, pressure always helps coverages. We'll take that all day. All right, so now we're getting into a different package for us. Something, again, we put in with a few games left this year. That was really helpful for us. I love this thing just because I'm biased and we get an extra DB on the field. But really a couple coaching points to talk on. Again, not going to change a whole lot of our rules. Right, so again, we take our Mike off the field. This dollar is going to be one of our safeties. This we call him our Bobcat. That's another one of our safeties, right? So that's the number 6 kid who's a great player for us and more than capable to fit the box and stuff like that. So kind of our nickel package, if you will. So again, not a whole lot changes. So talking about this dollar, so the player that we put in that position, right? He's a great athlete. Sometimes doesn't have the best focus. Which we knew putting him there. But again, making his rules very simple. So his rules in every coverage that we run in this package, except for one, or he has the vertical of number 2 weak or number 3 strong, right? And we'll show the adjustments in a sec. So if this Y is over here, right, he's all of number 3 on the vertical, right? So if we go $1.60, we know that our quarter side is to the field, right? Again, nothing changed, still Kathy palms for us. Again, this kid's a safety, so he knows exactly what that means. And then we can still keep our cover 2 rules back here. If number 2 is in location, he's a C area player, we'll trap it, especially with back away. If he's detached, which we got on the right here, right, we'll just play normal cloud. Again, knowing that our dollar has the vertical of number 2, right? So this was a great change up for us this year, was able to play aggressive and match a lot of routes with it. We put it in against Trinity to kind of respect their vertical game. And as we'll see in the first clip, this kid kind of showed us that we can play with this thing a little bit more. So here he is right here. He's our dollar. Again, this is our safety walk down now. He's our outside backer. We call it our Bobcat corner, obviously posse safety, free safety in our other corner, right? So he's on 2 vertical, ends up being 2 weak. His eyes are all in there. Again, going back to kind of what we get in our flow coverages, right? He sees him divide. Now he's able to fit right now. So initially we had this kid at 10 yards, again, trying to respect Trinity's vertical game. Him being just the kid that he is, lines up at 7. And this is literally the first play that we had it in. And you'll see him see this kid divide across, able to come down and make a play right at the line of scrimmage. That's kind of when we realized that this might be more than just a 3rd and long package, especially with the types of athletes we have on the field now. So we'll get into some of the pass concepts here. Let this thing roll. All right, so really, again, communication's not always great. Would love to be trapping this with back away, but cloud at the end of the day isn't the worst deal, right? So again, our dollar 3 vertical, nothing changes front side for these 3. They're still Kathy, right? Posse safety or strong safety has the vertical of 2. Corner has all of number 1. Our Bobcat still our seam curl flat. So again, keeping as much the same as we can, right? And another thing going back to this is this kid plays both safety positions too. So playing flow for him, right, isn't anything new, right? This technique's not new for him. He's just playing it from a different alignment. Really does a good job. Number 1's a speedy guy, doesn't give up too much ground, works sitting near hip, able to cut off this route. If this ball is on point, we got a chance to get our hands on it. Really like this corner down at the bottom here to get more hands-on, be more physical. Good job weaving by our free safety backside. But that kind of shows the route distribution on 4 verticals, which is why we put this thing in, and really ended up being a good package for us. I'm jumping around here. All right, so here we go. So this is another plus about this coverage, right? Is if this cat's not vertical, he's going to end up robbing a lot, right? He can pin the post, he can bracket a dig or anything like that. And him being an athlete, he's a smart kid, able to do a lot for us. So again, just able to double that vertical of number 2 now. If that was a dig, he's all over it, right? And closes the middle of the field for us. Really good job by our backers, just working off their landmarks here, able to make a play. Right, again, would like to see more hands-on by the corner up top. Does squeeze that thing to the safety at least, but really our backers do a great job covering for us. Now, if this dig keeps coming across, right, now he's kind of declared himself to this one, but if he's a little bit more patient and reads off the ball, he's able to double on that too. So that's kind of another bonus of this package for us, is if that guy's not vertical, he's really able to be a robber for us. And that's with the type of kid that he is, that's kind of exactly what we wanted. All right, so here we go against Colby now. Same deal here. Right, we got trap cloud back here. He's on number 3. Nothing changes vertical or to the field, excuse me. Still our quarters coverage. Now you can see this is the type of kid that this is, right? He sees his kid, excuse me, number 3 divide across. He comes to fit down. At this point, he's at 3 yards. He says, "Screw it, I'm going." Ends up getting a hit on the quarterback, right? And that's nothing that we ever talked about, nothing we ever coached. But again, going back to the not be the robot thing, right? And really able to just make a play and force a error throw, really almost a pick We ended up popping off on the ground, but really good job here. Now we're a little wonky here in the back end, right? This really should be our cover 2 side. So really we should let this sort. This should be bracketed. He should end up taking this. They ended up passing it off kind of crazy, but everybody's covered. So we'll make sure we talk about that on the next Sunday and get that route concept cleared out. But you can see, right, our dollar making a play, getting a hit on the quarterback, almost able to come up with a pick. I think this is the last clip of 60 here. Yeah, put this on here for this corner down here real quick. So again, if he has a must outside release, right, they're trying to run zone read here, trying to take this corner's eyes, right, outside release, squeeze him to the sideline with your ass, able to redirect. Again, come up with the play. You can see our dollar too, right? Dollar's on 3 strong, divides across again, able to fit down.
Hey, Coach, when you're in that, is the defensive end to the outside linebacker side up top there, is he a B-gap player all the way?
Yeah. So we do have a couple fronts out of this, but mostly we're going 3-0-5 with the 3 being to the field. Does that answer that?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Gotcha. So again, put this one on here for the corner mostly. And that kid's a freshman for us, so he was able to pick everything up quickly, which I think speaks to kind of our concepts that Coach Hall, Coach Davis, and myself really put in. Wanted to keep as much constant as we could. These kids are high academic kids, have a lot of stuff going on in the classroom. So to be able to keep the rules the same as much as possible is only going to benefit us, and I think that speaks to why that kid can come in as a freshman and be as productive as he was. So here we go. We got pro wing up top. So again, nothing changes to the field. This is a new spot for this kid. He's a safety, but he's physical as all hell, like I said, so that's not going to be a problem for him. So again, we get verticals. What I tell these guys is to let this thing sort. So this strong safety and this dollar have to be on the same page. Let this thing sort, right? They're not just going to run up behind each other. So let it sort. The dollar is going to take his final number 3. The strong safety takes his final number 2. Now this is another great clip by this kid down here. So they do end up trapping this. He's a little over aggressive at the front, but there is a play action. Now, what he does a great job and what I love is watch him dig himself out. He gets eyes to where he should be, digs himself out. If our dollar wasn't right on that guy, right, that quarterback's looking there trying to go, right, does a great job finding where he should be and digging himself out from the trap. Obviously, like I said, pressure is always a plus on this thing. D-line's working up front, get pressure on the quarterback, end up coming up with it, right? But put that on there for digging yourself out. When we first put this in, right, week 1, literally first play of the game, our corner screamed up here. They hit a 10-yard out, right? So something that you got to constantly rep and something I had to get better at and not assume that's an easy technique to run because it's not. And a lot of these guys haven't done it, but something that worked out for us well once we got more comfortable with it. So that's just a great job by that kid digging himself out. All right, empty now. Right, so again, keep things constant. Still have our corner, still have our bobcat. Strong safety, he's a little bit too tight. I don't know what he's doing. Our dollar now, he's still on 3 vertical. Now we can just lock this thing backside, right? Same way really that we adjust in our base, we're just using different personnel to do it. Right, so again, our dollar's on number 3 vertical. And again, our strong safety 2 was out now. He's going to end up cutting that to our bobcat, ends up bracketing number 3. Just showing our empty check here. And then scramble drills, something that I found we got to work a lot more. Way I teach our guys is lock whoever's in your area, that's who you're locking on if you're in zone coverage. It's something we had to continue to rep here. But again, this kid's a freshman for us too. Able to play all 3 safety positions, including dollar. Again, just speaks to the way we keep things constant and able to get guys on the field. Oh my God. So we got 2 more coverages to get through. I'll try and go through a little quicker. But now our stab coverage, so goes back to our clamp, basically the same thing, right? Same trap cloud rules back here, depending on the surface, right? Dollars rules don't change. vertical of number 2 weak or 3 strong. Our Bobcat, right, he's playing it just like our outside backer did in clamp. So he's got number 2 vertical. He can cut the out because it's going to our hard corner over here, still trap cloud over here. Again, depending on the formation. To the right here, you can see our 3x1 adjustments. Really nothing to adjust. It's just $1. And we don't necessarily have him communicate anything. Everybody in the back end kind of understands what the $'s rules are. So there's not even any communication that has to go on there. We don't say flow or anything because that just mess with our free safety. Everybody's just kind of on the same page, understanding what his responsibilities are. All right, so here we go. So to the bottom, right, we went cloud here. 3rd and 8, I don't hate it. Force an inside release. He knows he's over the top. Our $, again, 2 weak. Our Bobcat's going to run with the vertical at number 2. Posse's over the top of 1. Don't love our technique by, actually, he's all right up there. But again, you can see, right, he, for whatever reason, sees this going out to our safety. They end up passing this off. Now this whole thing's bracketed. We got 4 over 2 here. We got 3 over 2 here. Right, ended up being a good coverage. Quarterback gets out, able to rally to the ball. Right, 11:30, get 11 hats to the ball. We're off the field on 3rd down. Really good job by our Bobcat. Like how he would like him to stay more square, but he's taken away inside leverage, inside release just by his leverage there. Again, you can see we're double teaming a lot of things here just by the way the routes distribute. And again, got to get to the ball. All right, so same thing here, 3x1. Our $, will adjust. Really would like him to hold this disguise here. Now they ended up motioning around here too and kind of figured out what we were doing with that guy. But at the end of the day, would like him to hold the shell just a disguise. We were able to put some more coverages in. Like I said, this was the first game we ran this stuff. So didn't have a whole lot in. But we were able to mix it up a little bit more to hold our disguise. And I don't blame him for getting this that wide at the initial. This kid's a dude out there. Right, so again, and this is where it gets a little dicey, right? If one's vertical, two's vertical, or runs a bender, this safety's in a lot of conflict. Got to trust this guy to be able to play that like man coverage on a vertical. He's our starting safety for us, started for 3 years, was a senior for us. So just had to trust him. He's a little beat on this play. Better throw might do it. But love his eyes, right? Not looking back until he's in location. Just got to be able to trust your guys to make plays. And again, it goes back to the whole timing thing, right? Would like to see him get hands-on and throw that timing off a little bit. Got a little lucky there, but it kind of shows you the distribution here. We'll go to the next one. Against Colby here, 2x2. So here we go. Good job by the corner up top. Would like him to take away the outside release by his alignment. But if that kid's got a mandatory outside release, at least squeeze him to the sideline with your eyes back on the quarterback. Don't love our strong safety up top there. Really just needs to trust that the $'s got 2 vertical. He starts weaving inside for whatever reason. Does a good job getting back on his landmark. Just becomes a scramble drill at that point. We'll get to the next coverage here. All right, so now we're able to put this in with a couple of games left in the season as we started getting more comfortable with the package here. So again, just our basic Uno coverage. We're bringing 5, not necessarily this pressure. We have a couple of them. But again, make things simple for this kid, right? He's on the back at all times if he hears Uno, right? Our safeties are going to be our adjusters, right? So if it's 2x2, and the way I teach it, right, is we want this kid covering somebody, right? So we're not going to roll away from him, or we're not going to roll to him. We want him covering, right? So he's going to be on number 2. Our safeties will adjust. Free safety will take 2 weak. Strong safeties in the box. 3x1, so right to this picture. Now we're rolling to the Bobcat. Ringo will roll to it. Now these guys, I leave these matchups up to them. Now whether it's game plan and I see something, right? But ideally, I'm confident with both of these kids being the kids that they are covering either one of these. Now if we have a matchup and our safety's a better coverage guy and they line up their better receivers, number 3, then this is how we'll align to it, or vice versa. Another check that we got to be ready for is if this tight end's on the ball, right? We'll call banjo with both of our safeties. If he divides across, safety will take it. Our strong safety will go to the post. If he stays front side here, runs whatever, our strong safety will go it, and our free safety will drive to the post. So that's kind of how we adjust to that deal. But again, just normal man principles. Bring in 5. Ended up being a good package for us. Get a lot of athletes on the field. And here you see just the dollar being a player again. He's all in the back, right? It's all run for him, all in the back, able to make a play in the box. Our backers clean it up. So how we're aligning to this thing originally, he's on number 2. Strong safety's on 3. He's in the post. Dollars on the back. Now this would be a banjo call. What's up? Oh, I thought I heard something. Now we could banjo call this. Looks like they didn't go that here. They just stayed on originally, but again, our dollar and our backers able to make a play. Get into some coverage here. All right, so again, right, talk about not doing your job, do too much. Here we go, we're corner on 1, Bobcat 2, free safety on 3. Our dollar here is on the back. Our back stays in the coverage. We tell him to sink in the hole, read off the quarterback, right? That quarterback's looking dead straight. Now our safety gets beat a little bit here, and he figures it out late. He should be sitting right in this window. But again, you see all the plays he makes when he does trust his instinct. Sometimes you just got to live with it. We get lucky here. Quarterback's not able to make a good throw. But again, just a good changeup for us, able to get some pressure on the quarterback. And that ultimately is what makes the throw off here. Just a couple more here. All right, again, so he's on our dollars on the back. And now you can see now he's going to be able to become a robber player for us. Sink in the hole, right? Don't love third and 15, but still don't love us just giving all this green grass, right? Our safety just opens up, gives them green grass. Like what's going on up top, that's the picture we want to see right there, right? We don't want to see this. Our dollar, is able to help it out. At least stay in the window, allow him to recover. And again, pressure's getting home, so that always helps. We owe him some Krispy Kreme on that one. But again, you can see just how much we can get to with that dollar position, whether he's bracketing and robbing stuff or if he's making plays. Last one here. Same thing. So this is where we teach them levels, right? So they did a good job. Backers off. He decides to press. It's up to our safety to make them right and get over the top, right? His guys running a flat ball. We'll rally to that thing rather than picking one of these guys off who has a vertical route threat. So good job fighting over the top, right? Getting through the traffic. If that thing goes there, I'm confident we're making that that tackle before the first down, getting off the field. Suspect PI here, but we'll ignore that. Again, I appreciate it. We can open up to questions, Coach Hath, if you're ready. All my contact info is here: email, Twitter. Put my cell phone on here. Whatever you guys need, Coach Hall does a good job being open with us, and we're good to share whatever. Not with NESCAC guys, but hopefully there were none sitting in. But whatever you guys need, if you want to, obviously when this thing opens up and make a trip to Bates, or if you want to set up some Zoom or whatever, we can make it happen. So
that was awesome, Coach. Top notch, man. That was good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Hey, I do have one question. when you get into a scramble situation, what do you tell your DBs? Do they have some rules that they go by or anything?
Yeah, so, and it gets a little dicey, and really we weren't, and that's on me, we weren't able to rep it a whole lot this year, just the way our practices were, and it's kind of a tough deal to rep. But if we're in zone coverage, I tell them to man up whoever's in their zone. So, and really that comes in most of our quarters, we're going to end up being in man by the time those routes develop anyways. But if we're in cover 2, I tell them whoever's in their zone, treat that as man, go close to the hip. Really, I think it becomes dicey with our backers, with who's going to add. Typically, we add our inside guys, so our outside backers will stay in coverage. But obviously, as that thing comes out, at some point they have to come up and respect the quarterback. But something that we definitely need to rep more in that, and I need to rep more at the end of the day.
Coach Lip, Coach Goff, you guys got anything?
Lots of the footage you showed, Coach, had you guys in coverage. How often are you guys blitzing in your packages there?
That's a good question. So that dollar package, is that what you're talking? Or our 3-4?
Yes.
So our dollar, we didn't blitz until probably the last 2 games. Like I said, we really got it in for the Trinity game. They have studs at receiver, so we were worried about their vertical threat game. But as our guys got more comfortable with it, we were able to put 2 or 3 pressures in there. 3rd and short was really became a good pressure down for us in that package. And then out of our 3-4 package, we blitzed quite a bit. Didn't throw a lot of it similar to Coach Kenny that had his UNE stuff on the other day. A lot of similar stuff like that, but we blitzed more out of our base package than out of our dollar, just because of the guys we have on the field and stuff like that.
Nice.
Hold on, Coach. You're muted. Let me unmute you.
Oh, I got it. I think I got it, Mike.
There you go. Start that again.
I was hoping to hear something about the Lawrence spread passing attack from 2012.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that dollar package might have shut you guys down.
You shut us down enough, so it didn't matter too much. But I wanted to see some spread. Yeah. Spencer Carey. I always thought they should have run you, out of the gun. He'd have been a stud doing that. So
they were worried about me getting hurt.
I know. You just get a lot of contact.
I didn't like offense anyways. Get me out of there.
He was the backup.
Spencer's soft.
He was the second Q at the Lobster Bowl that year, but I don't think he played a single snap at Q.
No.
Yeah, that would have been bad if the kid from Mount Blue got hurt. That would have been ugly, but Spencer would have figured it out. He'd have been
running the ball a lot, I tell you that.
Triple option, and he'd have got it done. That was good, man. It's fun having those Bates kids. They can figure that shit out pretty quick, huh?
Yeah, there is. It's a good time.
No doubt. That's awesome. I got to run. My wife's coming home, and I haven't done anything around the house all day, but
after it.
Yeah, take care. That was awesome.
I appreciate it. Same to you. Appreciate all that you do.